By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today I am playing with a Sleight of Mind brew. It's a brand new deck. It's white and it's blue. That rhymes, funny. And I'm playing against Anna. He's sitting there on the left with the Bird and Ernie playmat. Very cool, Anna, liking the flavor. He's playing with a brutal green-black land destruction deck, and Anna is a patron. And one of the things you can do when you're a patron of the show is you can challenge me for a duel and you get to decide the rule set. So today we're playing Swedish, but we are not allowed to play with any banned or restricted cards. We are allowed to play with reprints, by the way. So you definitely in my deck you're going to see some revised. Talking about the decks, I'm now going to do a little deck on both decks. I have deck photos, so that's quite nice. If you like to go directly to game number one, you can do so by checking out the description below, clicking on the timestamp, and it'll take you directly to game number one. Now I'm going to have a look at Anna's deck. So let's take a look at his land destruction brew. Okay, so this is Anna's deck, and I've called it a land destruction deck earlier, but I don't think it's just a land destruction deck. When I look at this deck picture, I see 4 ice storms and 4 sinkholes, so that's very much land destruction based, but I also see a lot of mana dorks. I see 4 Llanowar elves and 4 elves of deep shadow, so there's definitely some tempo play going on here. And if he combines, of course, mana dorks with land destruction, that's a great foundation because you're setting your opponent behind, taking out his lands early, and you're getting ahead because you have extra mana with your mana dorks, and you can use that mana to cast huge, scary creatures. So here we see the Urnum Djinn and the Juzam Djinn. They're very scary, but also the Hypnotic Spectre is one of those creatures that you have to deal with when your opponent plays it out. And when I look at all these mana dorks, I think Anna will probably be able to play out some very strong creatures turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. And then I haven't even talked about the possibility to play land destruction turn 2. He also has paralyzes, which immediately tap your opponent's creatures. So that goes very well with the land destruction tactic, but also with the card Berserk. Because if your opponent has a creature and you just want to go through with, for instance, your Juzam Djinn, play your paralyze. Your opponent's creature is tapped, so you can just go through, deal the damage, and use your Berserks to deal some extra damage. So all in all, I think this is a very scary deck. You also see some glooms in the sideboard. Now, I'm playing with white today, so that could be killing for me. Luckily, I have Sleight of Mind, so maybe I can Sleight of Mind my way out of the glooms. We'll see. Sylvan, also a very strong card. All in all, a very strong deck, Anna, that you're bringing to the table today. Let's take a look at my brew and see if I stand a chance. The deck that I'm bringing to the table today is a Sleight of Mind deck, and it's a pretty classic deck. Actually, you already saw this deck in Alpha. And a Sleight of Mind is an interrupt for 1 blue, and it says change the text of any card being played or already in play by replacing one color word with another. For example, you can change counters a red spell to counters a black spell. Sleight of Mind cannot change mana symbols. So the interesting thing here is, or basically what I want to do is I want to, for instance, play out a Northern Paladin and it says destroy target's black creature. Well, if my opponent isn't playing with black, or if there's a creature with another color that I want to destroy, I can simply play Sleight of Mind and change black into any other color that I choose. The same thing goes for my White Knight. It has protection from black, but with Sleight of Mind I can give it protection from any other color. I also play with 2 Circle of Protections main, in this case red, because, you know, direct damage is always a thing. Again, I can use Sleight of Mind to change the color. I'm also playing with white wards, same story. So hopefully I can do some Sleight of Mind shenanigans to take over the control of the game. The other cards in this deck are pretty much self-explanatory. I think, 4 Disenchant and 4 Swords, they're the most powerful removal in old school Magic. Also playing with 4 counterspells here. And if I'm facing an artifact-heavy deck, I'm playing some Artifact Hate in the sideboard in the form of a playset of Energy Fluxes and a Hercule's Recall. I think my biggest problem when facing Anna's deck is that, he's just going to destroy my land, so I don't have a chance to play out my Northern Paladins or kind of get to the phase of the game where I can kind of do silly stuff with my Sleight of Minds. I think he's simply going to be too fast for me to keep up with him. But, you know, who knows? If I can get a Paladin on the table, he is playing with black, so I don't even need a Sleight of Mind to change the Paladin. So the Paladin should be pretty strong against this deck. I also have some Savannah Lions. They're only 1 white, so maybe I can play them out early, forcing him to block with one of his mana dorks. I don't know. We'll just have to see. So let's quickly go to game number 1 and see how this game is going to turn out. Game number 1, and Anna is sitting on the left. He is on the play, and I've already taken a mulligan, so I'm down 1 card. And there's a lot nowhere else here by Anna. And let's see what I can do. Just to clarify, we don't know what decks we're playing, because I always do the deck afterwards, obviously. So I have no idea yet. I just know that when I see a lot nowhere else turn 1, and if I can get rid of it, that's what I'm going to do. Same thing goes for any other mana dork. And there is another mana dork, Elves of Deep Shadow, playing a basic island passing turn here. Now I have the capability to counter, playing with 4 counter spells. And let's see, wow, tapping 4 here. There's an Urnum. Luckily I have a counter spell here, taking care of it. Passing turn. And there's a Savannah Lions, and I can still counter. And just the threat of having a counter spell open, maybe that helps. Maybe Anna will take some gas off the pedal. I guess not. There's a Juzam Jin. Nothing I can do against it, so I'll just have to wait. And look at that, a clone. I'm going to clone his Juzam. For a moment there I thought, is it going to be a Northern Paladin? That would have been cool. But it's not, it's a clone attacking here, deciding to block, and there is a Berserk, meaning I still get 5 damage here, going to 15. And there's that Sylvan that he can use to refill his hand again. Attacking here, making the trade, and there's a Sarah Angel. Let's see, you're looking at 3 cards, he's still on 19, so he has the space here to say I'm going to draw an extra one. He doesn't do it, I believe. He's still on 19, playing another Sylvan Library, passing turn. I have 1 card in hand, drawing my second now. Attacking here. Ooh, there's a Berserk, meaning it dies, but he does have to take extra damage, going to 11. Just playing out a basic land. And I think I'm in trouble here. Yeah, I am in trouble here. No counterspell, no swords. There's an Urnum. Playing a Savannah Lions, passing turn here. What could be in my hand? Perhaps a Sleight of Mind. And that's pretty useless at this point in the game. Taking the damage here, going to 11. So we're both on 11 at this point. But I think Anna definitely has advantage here. A stronger board state, and those Sylvan Libraries look very, very scary. Taking the damage now, going to 9. Playing a clone on his Urnum. So the clones are kind of helping me here. At least allowing me to keep my opponent at bay. Blocking here. And playing another Urnum. And that's a problem. Attacking it has Force Walk, so it's unblockable at this point. So he's on 7. Have to pass turn. And I think those Sylvans are going to be decisive, because he can kind of sort. Look at that, using a Paralyze, meaning he can now deal 9 damage in 1 swing. That's exactly what he's going to do. I'm going to 2. And there you see the strength of the Paralyze. It taps the creature immediately. There is a Disenchant. Why not? And attacking here, he's going to 1. And I think that's it. I don't know what card could save me here. I have 1 card in hand. And there's a Swamp and an attack. Can I do something? It's a basic island. Okay. Oh, he was on 1 life. 1 life. Okay, well done, Anna. Let's go to our sideboards. And I'll see you back at game number 2. Okay, game number 2. So I've lost, but he was on 1 life. So, I mean, it's definitely possible. I always think white and blue is a very strong combination because you have access to those counter spells, to disenchants, and to Swords to Plowshares. And what I usually like to do is use a couple of staple cards to create something special around that. We haven't really seen the Sleight of Mind come in action in game number 1, so hopefully we kind of can see that in game number 2. Obviously, Anna has a very strong deck, and he's actually taking a mulligan, by the way, so he's now looking at his hand, deciding what card he's going to put on the bottom of his library. And it looks like he's going to keep, so he's going to 6 here. And he's going to play out a Bayou passing turn, so no mana dork. And I've got a turn 1 drop, though, a Savannah Alliance passing turn. There's a Terror, so that came in from the sideboard. Obviously very useful. I don't play with any artifact creatures. Playing a White Knight here. And there is a Gloom, so that Gloom can be of serious trouble for me. Hopefully I can find a Sleight of Mind to change the text on the Gloom, because it now says white spells, so maybe I can choose it to green spells or black spells. And then his Gloom is going to work against him. But I have to find a Sleight of Mind. Now keep in mind, my opponent doesn't know yet that I'm playing with a Sleight of Mind deck, because he hasn't seen a single Sleight of Mind game 1. For now, it's looking bad for me, because I have to deal with that Urnham, but I can't. Ooh, and there's a Juzum Jin. I'm not able to counter the card. What can I do here? I've got 5 mana. Hopefully I can find a Swords at least to take care of one of the threats. I mean, my White Knight has protection from black, of course, so I can block the Juzam. That's not a problem. So at least that's something. So I have to take 4 here. Going to 12 already. And Anna is simply playing out some more mana dorks. Haven't found that Sleight of Mind, so I have to play a Disenchant on the Gloom. Playing a Northern Paladin, that's cool. Hopefully I can start removing some creatures. But my biggest problem here is the Urnham. Because do I actually want to kill the Juzum? I mean, it's a guaranteed 1 damage. And I can just block it with my White Knight. I guess I do. Wow, look at that. Going all in. Playing a Disenchant over the Factory. And I guess I just have to take the damage. Am I going to block with my Paladin? Am I going to take the risk? Remember, I haven't seen the deck list, so I don't know that he's not playing with Giant Groves. And when I'm playing against green, I assume I'm playing against Giant Groves. Oh, look at that. A double Berserk. Oh. Double Berserk. Double Berserk. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at the play again.
Nee, ik pak de 2 schade. Ik ga naar 6.
Nee.
Uh-oh.
Als jij verder geen blok zet, dan dubbel bezorg ik die.
Nee. Oh, you're such a bastard.
Oh, je had alles. Ja.
That is Magic. You're playing against a Berserk deck. These things happen, and you probably know this feeling. You build a deck around a card, in this case Sleight of Mind, and how many Sleight of Minds do you draw? 0. You know, this is what happens. Anna, thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon, and as always, I'm really jealous at your collection, because you just have stunning, amazing, beautiful cards. And yeah, what else can I say? If you want to support the channel, you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, of course, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Share these videos on your social, spread the word. And of course, you can also support the show financially via Patreon. Talking about Patreon, let's go to the end scroll and thank the patrons that are supporting this show.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, putting in the longboat until he's sober, putting in the longboat until he's sober, putting in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey.
Igitus figitus sumba kazee.